A composite construction, CobBauge comprises of two adjoining layers. On the outside, we have an external thermal insulating layer, whilst on the inside, we make use of a traditional cob material, which is used for structural load-bearing properties, such as supporting roofs, floors, and other structural components. Mixed by digger before being brought to site, in these clips we have traditional cob which is being moved up onto the scaffolding. This material comprises of a mixture that contains 2.5% fibre by dry weight of soil, which makes it a very dense but strong cob material. Unlike traditional methods of cob construction in the UK, here we're using formwork. The formwork is a good method of retaining the material and helps to shape the two layers of the composite. We also make use of a plywood placement tool which helps to separate the structural from the thermal mixtures. Here you can see gentle but firm tamping using a variety of methods and tools to help remove any of the air gaps that might be present within the structural cob. Once the structural layer has been completed, the placement tool is then removed, leaving a gap ready to accept the next part of the composite, which is the thermal mixture. In order to make the thermal mixture, we start with a subsoil that has got a very high clay content. This is then broken down through water mixing and agitation, turning it into a particularly viscous clay slip material. Whereas the traditional structural layer of cob used a wheat straw fibre, for the lower density thermal cob mixture we used a hemp shiv fibre. This was then mixed with the clay slip. For the thermal layer of CobBauge we used a mixture ratio of 1 bucket of slip to 3 buckets of hemp shiv. When fully mixed, the clay slip gives a good coating to the hemp shiv fibre, and it's then ready for use within the CobBauge wall construction. Whilst the formwork is useful at containing and holding the structural mixture, it is clear from this clip that the formwork is even more necessary for retaining the thermal mixture as it's laid next to the structural layer. In the same way that the structural layer was gently tamped to remove any air pockets within the cob, the thermal layer also requires some gentle compaction to remove air pockets. When a layer or lift of CobBauge walling has been completed, before the next layer goes in, we're laying hemp straw at right angles to the composite wall. This acts as a natural wall tie, binding the two composite layers together. In this image we can see 3 lifts worth of formwork, the idea being that each lift leapfrogs the next as subsequent lifts are added to the CobBauge walling. Whilst the formwork lends itself to creating clean, crisp edges, it is also possible to trial radius curves, as shown in this image. It is anticipated that in the future, more elaborate and ambitious curves and shapes could be formed using a variety of different formwork techniques. It is then necessary to allow a period of drying. This is to enable shrinkage and movement to be completed prior to installing windows and finishes. This final image shows the completed prototype building at the University of Plymouth. This building demonstrates the performance benefits from using the CobBauge system over traditional cob and other earthen techniques.